Hey, what's up? I'm Rafael Di Furia, aka Rafi D is me, and I am back at it again on another beautiful Friday night. And this Friday night, I wanted to talk about something, not necessarily a specific question or a specific comment, but kind of responding to a number of comments that I've gotten over the time that I've been here on YouTube. A pretty big misconception about who I am and what I am. And from the title of this video, I'll just say it's probably safe to assume you already know what this video is going to be about. But before we get too much deeper into this video, if you'd like to see more content like this about moving to Italy, Italian dual citizenship, and living life abroad, please be sure to subscribe with that notification bell turned on. And if you could also give this video a like and share it with your friends, that would be greatly appreciated, as it does help out the channel. And if you would like to help make more content like this possible on a monthly basis, you can go to rafaeldifuria.com/Patreon or rafaeldifuria.com/support to help out just once, or for shirts, baby onesies, mugs, and more with Italy-centric designs like pizza, pasta, and amore. That's it, I'm moving to Italy and more. You can go to rafaeldifuria.com/NYAG gear. So like I was saying, this isn't necessarily a question, but I do see in comments sometimes or in private messages that people seem to assume I left America because of a specific reason, and there seems to be the impression that there must be some sort of anti-American feelings or some sort of distaste or something along those lines, but that actually has nothing to do with why I left. When it comes down to it, the short answer would be I left because I could and because I had the opportunity to. The why is something that, for those of you who've been watching for a bit longer, might be able to piece together, but let's just go through this. So for those of you who've been watching for a while, you'll know that I've been living abroad for 10 years, getting close to that 11th year. But thinking about it, this YouTube channel may actually hit 10,000 subscribers right around the time I hit 11 years abroad. But I've only been living in Italy itself for about 2.5 years of this time abroad, but I've been coming here since I was a kid. I've mentioned this in videos before. My grandfather was a very huge influence on my life. He was basically my father figure growing up. And he was an amazing man, and he was a very proud American, very, very patriotic. He was in the Coast Guard in World War II, and even he was the keeper of Boston Lighthouse. Anyway, so that was my grandfather. Without any doubt, the sweetest, kindest man I have ever met. And even though he was a very proud American, he was so patriotic, at his core, what he was Italian. That's just what it was. It was kind of like, okay, yeah, we're American because we all can be American. We're Italian American. And from the time I was I couldn't even speak, he always told me the same phrase over and over again. And I've mentioned it here in my videos before, that what he would say is that there are two types of people who are Italian and people who wish they could be Italian. So from a very young age, these are the words that I was hearing. Some very good brain, not just washing, some scrubbing. And telling me about these stories about this homeland, this country that was just all of these beautiful stories, that I just had this love for this country without ever having been here before. And I know a lot of other Italian Americans can relate to this, being told about a country that many of us have never known on that personal level and only know it through the secondhand stories we've been given growing up. So even without ever having come here, I always had this passion for this country. And somehow it just seemed logical that one day I would end up here. And even I remember saying to my grandfather as a kid, I don't remember exactly what I said, but something about returning or us going back to Italy or us kind of being in Italy. I don't remember exactly what I said. And he kind of had this kind of look on his face I don't know if that'd be possible kind of thing. As far as he was concerned, it would never be possible. But still somehow, even at that age, I kind of knew somehow Italy was on my horizon. I don't know how I knew, but just I knew that was there. Even at that point, I'd only ever maybe heard a few words of Italian. My exposure to the country was just through the food and culture that was shared with me. And this is one thing that Italians in Italy seem to have a difficult time to understand, is that if you're born in America, if you're born in another country, how could you be Italian? How could you feel this passion? How could you feel this connection? How could you feel something for a country that you're not from, even though your family was from there? Moving on to a little bit later in the story. When I was 12, I heard on the news, and also a family friend was getting Irish citizenship. I heard on the news that it was possible to do it, and then I heard through a family friend that they were doing this thing. So I was thinking, well, of course, this is just how it works in the world. If your family comes from there, of course you have to be able to do it. And of course, this is not how it works in most countries. But it just so happens that Italy is one of those other countries that does allow people of Italian descent to be able to become Italian citizens. So it was this kind of almost lottery of sorts that I feel very blessed to have been able to have participated in, I guess. My mother had at that point already been kind of mentioning and talking about relocating to Europe because she had business partners who were out here. And so she was thinking probably Germany or Switzerland, but she really wanted to go to Italy. That was her thing that she really wanted to do, but it just made more sense to either go to Germany or Switzerland. I can say that ended up never happening. But when I found out about the Italian thing, that Italian citizenship was possible, I said to my mom, hey, like, can we do this? Like, I had found out about it and it really didn't take much convincing to get her interested in it. And so I started looking into it more and getting information, yes, at 12 years old. And there actually have been a few young people who have contacted me. It is really nice to see that, like, younger people who are interested in getting their families interested in it as well. We started gathering documents, and it was very difficult to find, and all of the information back then was really tricky to find. It was incomplete. The information, even today, that you find online is inconsistent, and the different rules for the different places, it's a whole mess. And as time was moving on, the plan kind of seemed to turn into that we would end up moving to Italy and I would end up going to high school here. That didn't happen either. Looking back on it, it would have maybe been nice, but seeing the Italian high school system and school system, I can't say I'm disappointed I didn't go. It's really intense and it's not easy. And some schools even go up to 13 years instead of 12 years of school. We tried to petition and we didn't have this document or we didn't have that document. It wasn't the right translation. It wasn't. Then we went back in the certification and then somebody left the office. And so a person who said we needed A, B, and C then left the office. The next person said we need X, Y, Z. And then by the time we came back, the next person was out of the office. And then the next person, C, said, oh no, you need A, B, and C again. And it's like, so it just kept going round and round and round, and we tried, and we just ran into a lot of roadblocks. Just before I turned 18, I had the opportunity to move abroad, and I decided, okay, maybe I'll just go around for a little while and then end up in Italy and just kind of make my way there. Just first enjoy like a year or two abroad and then go to Italy. That ended up turning into like 8 years almost. It ended up kind of being this cycle of kind of trying. Eventually, then I finally did get my citizenship, and then I was like, okay, once I have the citizenship, I'm moving, and I've made videos about that. But this is getting away from the question of why I left America, and not why I moved to Italy, but, well, I guess they're related. But why I left America was just because I felt as though I had seen quite a bit, not as much as I maybe would like to have seen before I left. And yeah, I could go back, but I don't feel the desire to go back. I've not been back once to the US since leaving. Most of my family doesn't live in the United States anymore. I don't necessarily feel such a pull to come there. I mean, every once in a while when I see how much cheaper electronics are in America or how much readily available certain things are, I'm kind of like, well, it could be fun. But there are those times that have thought about going back, but there's never been enough of a pull. Even I've had the opportunity for like a video job or a photo job to go back to the States for like a week or two. And I've just never felt as though it really was worthwhile because of other things that were going on in my life. I would have had to give up on other stuff. And those would have been great opportunities with airfare paid to go back. But I just, again, never felt the necessity. And I still don't feel that at this point in my life. At one point I did think about, maybe like going to the States and kind of do like a talking tour, talking to people who are thinking about moving to Italy and kind of talking to people and kind of maybe doing like little kind of, I don't know, not seminars, but little kind of speeches in front of groups that might be interested in that and answering people's questions. Because it's something that I've lived and I want to help people and share that information any way that I can. But until now, there hasn't been quite a way of making that happen. If it happened, that'd be cool. But I felt as though there was a lot more for me to see outside of America. I remember the first time that I came to Europe, as soon as we got back to the States, I just had this sinking, weird feeling like deep inside, not FOMO, not like fear of missing out, but like just I'm missing out on what I'm supposed to be doing. I'm just not in the right place doing what I'm supposed to be doing. Like it just didn't feel like the right fit. And I've read a lot of information and taken some courses on kind of the mind. And I'm not a psychologist. I'm not any kind of mental professional, healthcare professional of any kind. But I do remember reading through a number of articles talking about how immigrants, when they come to a country, may not ever truly feel like they're settled in. And that feeling can go down for a couple of generations. Even if a couple generations down, they don't realize it. They just may not feel like they totally fit in. And on my mother's side, I'm third generation American. On my father's side, I'm first generation American, but my father is Brazilian, not American. The strange thing is, I always had that feeling of not quite belonging to the place. I loved it. I enjoyed it. I think America is a wonderful country with a lot of wonderful people. Things are not perfect, and I will not say any country is perfect. But as soon as I got back from that first trip to Europe, even as a kid, I just somehow, again, there was that like something inside and like right in my gut just saying, yeah, I need to be on the other side of the ocean. What am I doing here? I felt like there was more for me, not necessarily belonging, not necessarily fitting in, because even now, like I still very much feel like a foreigner, even though I've come back to this country and even though I am of Italian descent. And there are a lot of people who are of Italian descent. They think, oh, I'm coming back to the land of my ancestors. Everyone's going to accept me and love me and just, it's going to be wonderful. And that's not how it is. If you speak some Italian and you are Italian American, you're still always going to be that Italian American person. Like people say, oh yeah, that American guy. People say, oh, you're American. I say Italian American. They're like, oh, okay, American. So I'm like, all right, whatever. Like I'm just used to it at this point. I don't fight it. I have never fought it. I'm just kind of like, whatever. People see me how they want to see me. And I still don't know what that feeling is today. That feeling when I was a little kid that somehow I knew that Italy was on my horizon. That feeling that when I said to my grandfather, like about being in Italy, that feeling that I knew at 12 years old that I had to pursue Italian citizenship. That feeling at 18, 17, 16, that like I knew that it was, all right, now it's time for the next thing in life. And that feeling ended up turning into my 20s while I was still not in Italy, just this kind of grabbing, reaching feeling like I need to explore living in Italy. I need to get to Italy for whatever reason. There was this calling, this pulling. Yes, I had thought about living in other countries, but it wasn't so much that I wanted to leave America as I wanted to be in Italy. I wasn't looking to escape America. There was no political reason. People always say to me, oh, you must have left because of the president. And I left way before this president was even president. And like, even when the president who was in office when I left, it still had nothing to do with it. I left because I was looking for the next adventure in life. And I feel like when people say that they're leaving because of a political situation or because of a political leader, the people that they have to get out because of a political situation or what's going on, those often, in my experience, from the people I've spoken with, I would say 95% of the time, maybe 98% of the time, end up being people who don't actually make the move abroad. They say that they're going to do it. Oh, I'm going to move to Canada. Oh, I'm going to move to Germany. Oh, I'm going to move to here, there, or wherever. But a lot of them don't end up doing it. There are some who do, and I have definitely met some people who have left because of their political views and because they don't believe that the nation that they're from aligns with their political views, and not just from the United States, from various countries. But again, this has nothing to do with my reasoning at all. So that was something I did want to make clear. I'm just saying that my leaving America had nothing to do with my political leanings. There's no sour taste. There's no bad feelings. There's no negative feelings towards the country that I was born in. I, if anything, am grateful for the opportunities that country gave me, for the opportunities it gave my ancestors who came to that country. Even though there have been times while traveling, it's been probably safer not to say I'm American, and I have maybe refrained from saying that. I am proud of who I am and where I'm from. I'm proud to be an American, or at least I know I'm free. Because no matter where I go, I will always be American. Even if one day the country didn't exist anymore. I am what I am, and I will never try to escape who I am and what I am. And regardless of what may be happening in the country, I am this. I am American. I am proud of that part of myself. And I'm also proud of everything else that makes up who I am, my family background, my ancestry, and that legacy that's been passed down to me. And even though I do have a love for that country, and even though I do have maybe a little bit of a patriotic streak, I just don't feel the need to live there. Anyway, normally I would say I hope this video has been helpful, but I hope this video has maybe made you think about things. And maybe there are some of you out there who feel the same way that I do. I'm actually curious. I can imagine there might at least be a few of you. But of course, if you have anything to say, this is always an open conversation. So feel free to leave any of your thoughts or questions or whatever it may be down in the comment section below, and maybe I'll be able to answer it in a future video. And of course, if you would like to see more content like this about moving to Italy, Italian dual citizenship, and living life abroad, be sure to subscribe with that notification bell turned on. And if you could also give this video a like and share it with your friends, that would be greatly appreciated, as it does help out the channel. And if you would like to help out the channel on a monthly basis to help make more videos like this possible, and of course, a gigantic thank you to those of you who have been helping to make content like this possible. You can go to rafaeldifuria.com/Patreon to help on a monthly basis, rafaeldifuria.com/support to help out just once, or rafaeldifuria.com/NYAG gear for shirts, baby onesies, mugs, and more, like posters, with Italy-centric designs that all go to help make videos like this possible. Anyway, I hope you have a wonderful first weekend of 2020. Can you believe we have made it to the roaring 20s? And I hope you all have an amazing week ahead of you. I look forward to seeing you all next Friday. Later.